Today's story time. So, the first story is about a young boy, and this young boy found himself always feeling like he had a calling, like there was something inside of him that needed to be shared. And specifically, he felt like he was meant to help people because he had something going on inside of himself that was so pure, it was so innocent, and he just felt that that was something that everybody should be able to experience because the experience that he had inside of himself was so amazing. And as he looked around and he saw people struggling, having a hard time, he just thought to himself, if they could just get inside my little teeny tiny body and have the experience that I'm having, feeling connected to something that's way bigger than me, knowing that I'm loved, knowing that I'm okay, knowing that I'm supported, that would be pretty amazing. Because this little boy was happy. He was really happy. And he had a big smile on his face, and he always was. If you saw the glow coming off of this little boy, you would know that he was happy. Because he was loved by this presence, although he didn't know what that presence was. He didn't call it, he didn't have words for it because he was too young to know what it was, right? He just felt this love and just lived his life. And then he started looking around more and more and more when what he realized was that his experience was unique. And the more he paid attention, the more he realized not a lot of people were having this experience. And then he thought, well, what can I do about that? What can he do about that? And so he started coming up with this idea, and he started this thought of, well, maybe he could share this in his own little way. And so at the time he was going to church. And so what he decided to do was he started getting involved with teaching some classes, even though he was very young. And he also started handing out Bibles because in his mind, he didn't have words to express it. He just knew that in his understanding that this book gave him this thing called God, and it felt like that was the closest thing that he could come to explaining it in his young age. And so he thought it'd be really cool to be able to share that. And so that's what he did, is that he ran around and he taught classes with all the at Sunday school, and then he would hand out Bibles to people because he thought, not bad. And he just kept thinking, man, if other people had the experience that he was having inside of him with now what he believed or what he thought this thing called God was, that would be a pretty cool thing to do. And so, in fact, he even, at a very young age, when he was 7 years old, he started reading the Bible, and it took him about 4 years, but he actually read the Bible from front to cover the whole time. 7-year-old, and nobody told him to do this. No one was standing there saying, you have to do this. It's just something that was inside of him that he just kept wanting to breathe into. He felt like he was actually living this thing that was trying to come through him. And he loved it. And as the boy continued to grow and he started getting into his teenage years, he started to all of a sudden get a little bit confused. In other words, he started looking at the Bible and he started noticing that there was some confusion there, and that he was noticing that in one place it said this, and in another place it said this, and over here there's this. And he started to get confused because he started to lose what he always of this innocence, this purity of this love that he had for this thing that now he was calling God, right? He was just confused. The things that were in the Bible and the people who were telling him that this is the way that it was, and how dare you actually question the authority. Remember, teenager, but yet there was something inside of him that said, I don't know if I can agree with this anymore. I don't know. And he felt like he needed to trust that intuition, trust what was inside of him. And so here's this little boy, and he's struggling. He's trying to figure this whole thing out. He's feeling this thing. And again, he was just going, wait a minute. And he kept going back to the place in his heart, which said, yeah, but this thing inside of me loves me unconditionally. And he just didn't feel like something was off. And it was at this point that this boy walked into this very special place that had a completely different message. And he walked into a place that told him that he really was loved by God unconditionally, and that he was not born in original sin, and that heaven and hell were actually states of mind. And he did that when he was 16 years old, and it completely changed his life. Because now, all of the restrictions, all of the things that told him why he couldn't be loved, or that he wasn't loved, or he wasn't valued, all of a sudden went away. And so when he was 16 years old, he had an incredible awakening and returned back to the innocence and the purity of the love of God that he had when he was just a little boy. And he started to go inside and just still wanted to share this message with everyone, because that was what was in his heart. And he couldn't help that urge to want to get out there and do this, do this, do this, do this. And so he continued doing that. Now, in case you haven't realized, that little boy was me. Spoiler alert. The magical place I walked into was Unity when I was 16 years old. And so something happened as I continued to share what I could do and what I felt like was inside of me. And I just knew that something was driving me. And I didn't understand it, but it felt like it was bigger than me. And so I'm just doing my thing. I'm sharing what I can share. I'm in every way, shape, or form I could do that. And then all of a sudden in 1995, and I remember like it was yesterday, I've only had this experience one time in my entire life, and hasn't happened since like this. But I remember it was the middle of the night, and all of a sudden I heard a voice tell me, wake me up dead in my sleep, and said, you got to read the book of Return to Merlin. That never happened before. Okay, so I go back to sleep. And all of a sudden I hear this voice tell me, hey, you got to read this book. And I'm like, I heard you the first time. Would you please let me just go back to sleep? Thank you. And I go back to sleep. About an hour later, same voice tells me the same exact message, only this time I wasn't so nice about it. I basically woke up and told it to shut up. Might have had one or two expletives in there. I was wanting to get some sleep, please and thank you. So anyways, the next day I woke up and I started to look, and sure enough, Deepak Chopra wrote a book, just had published this book. I had no awareness of this book in any way, shape, or form. Did not know about it. And so as I read the book, what it basically told me, now remember, this is back in '89. So we're talking, what, 35 years ago? And what this book basically said was that coming up in a very short amount of time, there's going to be people, and there's going to be groups of people that are going to start coming together. And once again, they're going to create, and in the book, it references Camelot a lot. And it talks about how it's a rebuilding of Camelot is going to start taking place. And so at that time, I thought to myself, that's pretty cool. That's interesting, but what does that mean? And the truth is, I didn't know, but it was kind of one of those things. All right, Mike, pay attention. Pay attention. And so it just let me know that what was going to start happening is you're going to start seeing different people, different groups of people starting to show up, and there's going to be reasons for it. This isn't going to be random. This isn't going to be a mistake. This isn't going to be anything, but just start to pay attention and watch and observe what happens as you continue on with your life. And I'm like, cool, I can't wait. And so onward I went, and I kept sharing what I could. I kept speaking, doing classes. I kept reading books. I kept doing all the stuff that I was doing. And over time, I started to meet people, and I started to see these little pockets of groups. And I thought, wow, that's kind of interesting. Interesting as I'm going along and watching this thing. And as time went on, I always was wondering, going back to the book, like, okay, but why? Like, what? Okay, great. Like, thank you for telling me these groups of people are going to be coming together and there's going to be something really important about it. And like, so what? Right? And then finally, a few years ago, a friend of mine suggested I read another book, and that's called A More Beautiful World. When we know it's possible, by Charles Einstein. And the book is very, very interesting. It's very, very cool. But at the very end of it, he wrote something that really kind of, in my mind, explained the entire thing and what was going on and the reason why I was told everything that had happened to me. And so I just want to read to you this morning. It's going to be a little long, but and I'm just going to say this before I read this. You showed up here this morning for a reason. It's not a mistake. I don't care if you're here for the first time or you've been here for 10 years. You were meant to hear this. So just know that as I'm reading this. Okay? Once upon a time, a great tribe of people lived in a world far away from ours. Whether far away in space or time, or even outside of time, we really don't know. They lived in a state of enchantment and joy that few of us today dare to believe could exist, except in those exceptional peak experiences when we glimpse the true potential of life and mind. One day, the elders of the tribe called a meeting. They gathered around, and one of them spoke very solemnly. "My friends," she said, "there's a world that needs our help. It's called Earth, and its fate hangs in the balance. Its humans have reached a critical point in their collective birthing. At the same point our planet was at 1,000,000 years ago, and they will still be born. They won't be born without our help. They won't survive. Who would like to volunteer for a mission to this time and place and render service to humanity?" "Tell us more about the mission," they asked. "It's no small thing. Our shaman will put you into a deep, deep trance, so complete that you will forget who you are. You will live a human life, and in the beginning, you will completely forget your origins. You will forget even our language and your own true name. You'll be separated from the wonder and the beauty of our world and from the love that bathes us all. You will miss it deeply, and you will be unable to name what you are missing. You will remember the love and the beauty that we know to be normal only as a longing in your heart. Your memory will take the form of intuitive knowledge as you plunge into the painfully marred earth, knowing that a more beautiful world is possible. As you grow up in the world, your knowledge will be under constant assault. You'll be told in 1,000,000 ways that a world of destruction, violence, drudgery, anxiety, and degradation is normal. You may go through a time when you are completely alone with no allies. To affirm your knowledge of a more beautiful world, you may plunge into depth of despair that we in our world of light cannot imagine. But no matter what, a spark of knowledge will never leave you. A memory of your true origin will be encoded in your DNA. That spark will lie within you, inextinguishable until one day it is awakened. You will see, even though you will feel for a time utterly alone, you are never alone. We will send you assistance, help that you will experience as a miraculous experience that you will describe as transcendent. This will fan the spark into a flame for a few moments or hours or days. You will reawaken to the beauty of the joy that is meant to be. You will see it on earth, for even though the planet and its people are deeply wounded, there's a beauty there, still projected from the past and future onto the present as a promise of what is possible and a reminder of what is real. After that glimpse, the flame may dive down into an ember again as the routines of normal life there swallow you up. But after each awakening, they will seem less normal, and the story of that world will seem less real. The ember will start to grow brighter. When enough embers do that, they will all burst into a flame together and sustain each other. Remember, you will not be there alone as you begin to awaken to your mission. You will meet others of your tribe. You will recognize them by your common purpose, values, intuitions, and by the similarity of the paths that you have walked. As the condition of the planet Earth reaches crisis proportions, your paths will cross more and more. The time of loneliness, the time of thinking that you might be crazy will be over. You will find people of your tribe all over the earth and become aware of them through the long-distance communication technologies used on that planet. But the real shift, the real awakening, will happen face-to-face in gatherings in special places. When many of you gather together, you will launch a new stage on your journey, a journey I assure you will end where it begins right now. Then the mission that lay unconscious within you will flower into consciousness. Your intuitive rebellion against the world presented to you as normal will become an explicit quest to create a more beautiful one. A woman said, "Tell us more about the time of loneliness that we might be prepared for it." The elder said, "In the time of loneliness, you will always be seeking to reassure yourself that you're not crazy. You will do that by telling people all about what is wrong with the world, and you will feel a sense of betrayal. When they don't listen to you, you might hunger for stories of wrongness, atrocity, and ecological disaster and destruction, all of which confirm the validity of your intuition that a more beautiful world exists. But after you fully receive the help we will send you and the quickening of your gatherings, you will no longer need to do that because you will know that your energy will thereafter turn toward actively creating a more beautiful world." A tribeswoman asked, "How do you know this will work? Are you sure our shaman's powers are great enough to send us on such a journey?" And the elder replied, "I know it will work because he's done it many times before. Many have already been sent to the earth to live human lives and to lay the groundwork for the mission that you will undertake now. He's been practicing. The only difference now is that many of you will venture there at once. What is new in the time you will live in is that you will gather in critical mass and each awaken the other to your mission. The heat you will generate will kindle the same spark that lies in every human being, for in truth, each one is from a tribe like ours. The whole galaxy and beyond is converging on Earth, for never before has a planet journeyed so far into separation and made it back. Those of you who go will be part of a new step in cosmic evolution." Tribesmen asked, "Is there danger? Will we become lost in the world and never wake up from the shamanic trance? Is there a danger that the despair, the cynicism, the pain of separation will be so great that it will extinguish the spark of hope, the spark of our true selves, and the origin that we all be separated from our beloved ones forever?" And the elder replied, "That is possible. The more deeply you get lost, the more powerful the help we will send you. You might experience at the time as a collapse of your personal world, the loss of everything important to you. Later, you will recognize the gift within it. We will never abandon you." Another man asked, "Is it possible that our mission will fail and that this planet Earth will perish?" The elder replied, "I will answer your question with a paradox. It is impossible that your mission will fail, yet its success hangs on your own actions. The fate of the world is in your hands. The key to this paradox lies within you in the feeling that you carry that each of your actions, even your personal secret struggles, has cosmic significance. You will know them as you now know that everything you do matters. There were no more questions. The volunteers gathered in a circle. The shaman went to each one, and the last thing each was aware of was a shaman blowing smoke in his or her face. They entered into a deep trance, and they dreamed themselves into the world where we find ourselves today. And so, welcome to your tribe, folks. I want you to know that we're not just showing up here on Sunday mornings to listen to Mike talk. There's such a bigger game that's here. And I want each and every one of you to know, and I don't care where you sit on your own spiritual journey, you're here for a reason, a much bigger reason that you may even be aware of. And just because right at this moment, it doesn't feel like you necessarily have your A game, it's okay. We all chose to come down here at this point in time. All of us. My belief is you're not here by a mistake in any way, shape, or form. And even if it doesn't feel like right now, yeah, but that's not me, Mike. That may be you, or that might be a handful of other people. That's a bunch of BS. It is. We came here because there is a wave that's coming of people who are going to need our, not Mike's, our support. And guess what? You signed up for that. Each and every one of you signed up for that. And so my hope and prayer in hearing this is that there's something inside of you that goes, wow, what if he's right? What if that's really why I'm here? And what if the life that I've gone through with all the pains and all the sorrows and everything I struggled through really was the way that my soul decided I needed to learn and grow so that when the time was right and I was needed, I will have gained strength, I will have gained wisdom, and I will have experienced what it's like to go through pain and suffering, but I've made it through the other side so that I could help and support others in my own unique way. And then what if, just maybe what if, we could get together as a community and show up and do that with each other? So that as people start to wake up, we could be here to hold them, to be with them, to share with them our experience. So we get to tell our story. We get to share about our pain, our suffering, and what it was like. But because of the fact that we came through the other side of it, we actually have the compassion and the wisdom and the ability to really help and love them and support them. So in other words, what if this isn't all random chaos we're looking at? What if there's a bigger picture that's going on? What if everything that we see that's going on outside of ourselves is really the planet just getting ready to shift into a higher way of being? And what if, before you came down here, you agreed that you would be one of the people that helped? I really want you to think about that. And I really want you to consider the possibility that maybe there's something going on, or maybe it's yet to happen for you completely, and that's okay too. Because listen, we all have our different timing. All of us do have a different time when we chose this is going to be the way it's going to look. And while in my life I had different moments where certain things happened to me where I had these awakenings, I still really do believe that the greatest is yet to come, even for me that's been at this for a while. I really do believe that our greatest gifts have yet to show up. I really do believe that we as a consciousness begin this process of waking up, that we knew that it was going to take a while before all of a sudden all these gifts started really coming online. But we knew it. And that's why we wanted to be here, so that we could actually see this thing happen. It's kind of like the greatest show on earth. We are getting ready as a humanity to shift vibrationally. We're already doing it. It's already happening. And I know the world's going to tell you everything's going to hell in a handbasket. Trust me, I know. But what I'm here to tell you is the truth is we are waking up. And we as a humanity are going to shift into a different way of being. And now the only question I have for you is, are you ready for that? You signed up for it. We all did. Now the question is, are you ready for that? And if you are, then what does that mean? And what I would encourage you to do, think about doing, is maybe spending a little bit of time with yourself and with God or nature or whatever you want to call it, and ask yourself some questions. Like, hey, what am I here for? What is it inside of me that's yet to be born? How could I possibly be a part of this thing and help? What is my part? What is my role in this thing that's going to be happening? And then start paying attention and see what happens. You'll be amazed. You'll be absolutely amazed at what you'll start to see and notice. Yes, you're going to continue to do the day in and day out stuff. Yeah, you're still going to go to work, or you're still going to have to go do this or go do that and all the other things like that. But when all of a sudden you're part of something bigger, that you actually came down here to be a part of something that was really going to help change and shift the human consciousness on the planet. And by the way, that's not ego talking. It's not. That's deep, deep knowing. For those of you that are already there, and by the way, I know who you are, that are sitting in this room right now, because we've talked about this, or I know this about you, even if you don't. This isn't a mistake. And when I think about it, I think, well, how cool would that be? To be involved with a group of people that are down here in little old Grand Rapids, Michigan, and maybe we're one of hundreds of little pods all over the earth that are just here to help and support people as they go through this transition. And I think to myself, that would be really, really, really cool. Like, that would be really fun to me, to be a part of something where we come together and we do everything we can to try to help humanity as it makes this transition. And so I leave you with that thought this morning. I leave you with this idea that maybe, just maybe, there's something bigger going on here. That maybe, just maybe, you're a part of that something bigger. And maybe, just maybe, everything that you've gone through up until this moment of time, no matter what is going on right in this minute, was exactly what your soul needed to learn. Here's the even better part, is you can be done with it. All the struggle, all the pain, all the strife, you can be done with it. Nobody's saying you got to keep doing it. You don't. So, the good news is everybody stayed. I was waiting for some people to go bolting out the door. But the truth is, this is what I really feel. This is what it's in my heart. It's in my soul. I am beyond honored to be a part of this with all of you. Again, this isn't the Mike Show. We are tuning into something way higher than the Mike Show. And I think it's really, really cool that we get to do this together. And so with that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being down here. Thank you for sharing your life with me. Thank you for sharing your light with me. I am the luckiest guy in the world because I get to do my little part, and I get to do it with all of you. And I could not be more blessed. So thanks for coming here this morning. If you ever want to talk about these crazy ideas, just know that I'm here for you, and I'd love to sit down and talk to you about it. Other than that, God bless, namaste, and namaste. I love you. Thank you.